Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to my Whereby room.
Yeah, this is weird. I've never been on this website before.
Yeah, it's a pretty special website. It just feels less industrial than Zoom. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah. So, how's
totally.
it going?
Pretty good. We were just joined by my kitty, but she
Oh, yeah.
left as soon as
Darn.
as soon as she heard the noise. Yeah, uh,
Damn.
but she'll probably rejoin us soon.
Nice. That's good news. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
How's it going?
it's going good. Yeah, just had work all day. What kind of place do you work at?
I work at a record store. I work at Ditch Records here in Victoria. I just started working there in the summer, and it's so far been the best job I've ever had, honestly.
That's great. Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Feels great. Yeah. Yeah. What do you do
Um,
for work?
Yeah, I do I work in mostly in marketing for this place and stuff.
Mm.
And yeah, I work a couple part-time jobs and have time to like freelance. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
lots going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I'll hop into my questions.
Sure. Yeah. Let's
Yeah,
hear 'em.
great. So starting off with a little introduction. Who is Trevor James Lang today? Can you tell us more about yourself?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I guess I'm a musician and an artist, I guess. um, um, yeah, it's funny. It's a really simple question, but it's hard to have a
Mm-hmm.
satisfying answer to it. Yeah, a musician, producer, engineer, and then I've also sort of in the last couple of years gotten into motion graphics and animation and making music videos for people, as well as like photography and stuff. So kind of dipping my fingers in everything that I can. And I don't know. I guess I'm a collector,
Mm-hmm.
and mm,
What do you collect?
a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, well, working at a record store has been definitely dangerous because I've been buying a lot more records than I usually used to.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of that. I love gear, and so I buy a lot of gear, which
Nice.
is good because it's useful.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then I also worked at a vintage clothing store for a few years, and before that another vintage store. So I have a between me and my partner, we have a pretty large closet. So
That's good. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just love things. I love
Mm-hmm.
buying things.
Mm-hmm. Tangible things are good.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
love your outfit, by the way. The vest, the whole
Thanks.
color
Yeah,
palette.
two two sweaters and a vest, because it's
Good.
pretty cold in this apartment. So
Mm-hmm.
the vest
Nice.
doesn't help much for warmth, but little pockets
Yeah.
help for putting random stuff in there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Utility.
Hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your creative origin story? You said you're mostly a musician, but I guess, yeah, in any creative way. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, I mean, it's a little cliche, but I do come from like a really musical family.
Mm.
My dad was like a like lifer musician. Played with like do you know the Divinals at all?
I don't think I do, but they sound cool.
They have one big song called "I Touch Myself," which
Oh,
is
why? That sounds
you if you
familiar.
if you heard it, you would totally recognize it. It was
Yeah.
like a massive song. Like so, he played with them, and like other random bands and toured around a lot and stuff like that. And then
Whoa.
had
Sorry, I
whoa, it's
got
starting.
automatic lights here. I just got
Oh, nice.
shut down.
Um, yeah. So anyway, so like, and then uh, when my sister and I were born, he uh, got a regular job, a paying job, and then and was just always showing his music, and
Mm.
he played like everything. And so naturally, when I was a kid, I like wanted to be my dad, I guess. So I just like started playing music. I started with drums, um, and then eventually got tired of being at the back of the stage, even though of course I wasn't really playing much in front of people because I was like 5 years old. But
Mm-hmm.
the metaphorical stage, I guess. I wanted to move up to the front, so I learned guitar, and then from there, and I was singing the whole time. I used to be able to sing like Stevie Wonder, and then I hit puberty, and then all of a sudden, I could
Mm-hmm.
not sing like Stevie Wonder anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so then learned guitar. Sorry, this is really scatterbrained.
No, no,
But
it's great.
um, but yeah, then learned guitar and bass and stuff kind of came naturally with that, and then
Mm-hmm.
piano soon after, and then yeah, started playing in bands, trying to make something happen for as long as I can remember, um, and then only in the last few years I've started to like, I guess, diversify my means into like visual elements and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly, I mean, out of a love and passion for it, but also just because like to be an artist in this day and age, you need to be like your own graphic designer,
Yeah.
website designer, music video maker, all that kind of thing. So out of a sort of necessity and needing to make things on a $0 budget,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just started doing things, and I've been lucky enough that like I've actually had the time to be able to invest in learning a bunch of new mediums and ways about things, and also having like a really great uh, like a good group of friends and people
Mm-hmm.
around me that like are all like multidisciplinary artists that I can sort of like go to with questions and just pick their brains about stuff. So I guess the origin story would just be it is I'm just a product of the of my surroundings, I guess, my
Mm-hmm.
musical family, and then the friends group that I naturally gravitated towards,
Mm-hmm.
artist, I guess. So yeah,
Nice.
a lot of pathways all leading into one current
Mm-hmm.
self. That is
That's
me.
nice. That's nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, yeah, you have a new single coming out, you said, in February called
Mhm.
Spotlight. Mm-hmm. Why is that one special to you? Yeah.
Well, it's the one that I've been most excited to release out of these songs that I'm currently in the process of releasing. I sort of with the pandemic hitting and like having a lot of time to myself, at being a non-essential worker, and wasn't really doing anything with any of the other projects I was with, either Cartoon Lizard or
Mm-hmm.
Haley Blay. Um, Nothing was really happening, and so I started just working on my own stuff just to hear what it would sound like this day and age after not doing it for a few years. And so I sort of just finished these 4 songs, and
Mm-hmm.
with 4 sort of different feelings and vibes. And the one that's coming out in February is sort of the last of that batch, though there is a lot more to come. It's the last of the first batch of songs, and it's sort of feels like the true sound that I want
Mm-hmm.
my music to sound like, in a way. Like it sounds the most like naturally what I am gravitating towards creatively.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the other songs were sort of like parts of my, I don't know, musical aspirations.
Mm-hmm.
This one feels like a sort of culmination of all of the ideas into one sort of cohesive single piece. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to just get it out because it's like it just feels it's my favorite of the bunch. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, parents can't pick favorites, but I mean, I kind of it is kind of my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice. Like, what was that process like in like understanding as you were making it that like this was what like you were looking for? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like songs are like I've kind of been realizing this lately in working on a bunch of new songs to come out at some point. That like things just kind of like grow. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
really. do much except for just sort of water the plants, I guess, and then
Mm-hmm.
they just sort of like turn into things. Um, and so like this like Spotlight started off, and I thought it was gonna be like a sort of Fiona Apple-y kind of folky or sort of yeah, like I don't know if people call it freak folk, but like
Yeah,
sort of
nice.
like off or alt folk kind of vibe, and then it sort of got a little bit funkier and groovier, and then I started adding synthesizers to it, and like it sort of just felt like everything that I was listening to, like my main inspirations these days are like Bob Dylan and Stevie Wonder, basically. Like
Mm-hmm.
I like this sort of folkier like sound of the Dylan stuff, but then the like hyper groovy sort of funky, spacey, synthy Stevie Wonder stuff from like the 70s, you know, like the sort of five albums in the 70s, like Intervisions and Songs in the Key of Life and stuff. And so this song just felt like a natural kind of, uh, yeah, outcome
Product.
from that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
That's a good like
so it,
balance of artists too. Bob Dylan and Stevie. Yeah.
yeah, it's funny because Dylan is so like his vocal performances are so like completely out there and like
Mm-hmm.
really emotive and like um, more focused on the like emotional performance than the technical performance.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Stevie's just like a total virtuoso, like a complete like talent. And so,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, it's an interesting like it's a difficult place to find a balance between because they're both obviously such legends. And I'm not saying that I've gotten there at all, but like it's just like
But
those
pretty
are
close. Yeah.
yeah,
Getting
yeah,
there.
like I mean you can even see like up around the top here I
Mm-hmm.
have like all of the most inspirational stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We got I can't do this.
Nice.
Well, there's Joanna Newsom, Stevie
Oh,
Wonder,
okay. Yeah.
Bob Dylan, Brian Wilson is up there.
Nice.
So they're all looking, sitting up there, looking down on me.
Nice.
Uh,
It's like a chapel. It's like how they painted, you know.
totally, yeah. I
Nice.
love having them around. They're, they're either helping or looking down on me and shaking their heads. One of the two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can catch the vibes. So that's
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah, big time.
Um, yeah. You mentioned you have, the friends that you've gravitated towards. What's uh what's the contrast, like the difference between working solo for you versus with collaborators?
Um, well, yeah, they're both very difficult in their own ways
Mm-hmm.
and freeing in their own ways. I mean, the thing about working by yourself is that if you spend a lot of time on something and then it doesn't really turn out the way that you want it to, like you have no one to blame except yourself. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that's just you. And it can kind of be like a hard realization to make at times. But then at the same time, I mean, sometimes some of those songs that you make just by yourself are like the most satisfying because they're like
Mm-hmm.
custom made for you, you know. Um, and I gotta say, like I'm a bit of a control freak at times, and
Mm-hmm.
so um, it can be really difficult working in a collaborative setting because like the, it's essential to relieve some of that control
Mm-hmm.
to the people you're collaborating with, and that can be, you know, that's control is sort of attached to your ego, and you gotta you have to step back. I mean, with Cartoon Lizard specifically, like we've our whole mo was to be a sort of five-person completely democratic process
Mm-hmm.
where we we all have opinions and we all try to work together, but it's like it gets so weedy because people's feelings get involved, and it's an extremely difficult scenario. But then in the end, you know, your collaborators, people you're working with, are coming up with things that you wouldn't have come up with and
Mm-hmm.
can be so magical because of that. Like um, there's this feeling that we've sort of talked about in Cartoon Lizard. That's like a really great feeling where you have a song, you present a song, and then someone goes off with it for like uh, a couple days or a few hours or whatever, and then maybe someone else adds some stuff to it, and then you get it back without hearing anything, and all of a sudden it's like it's your initial song, it's the thing that you really liked, but now it's new again, and it's like it's like a custom made song for you that you had nothing to do with other than like the initial idea, and it's like it's such a great weird feeling. I don't know, it's really
Yeah.
exciting. Whereas like working on your own stuff, you're in it for every step of the process, and like there's no hiding, or like you don't really forget what you did, like you're in it, and you can get kind of
Mhm.
distracted in that way. So it's always good to have other people around to bounce ideas off of, but also like um, one of the big reasons why I ended up doing all these songs solo is because I wanted to feel like I could let go a little bit more in a collaborative setting. Like I don't have my entire
Mhm.
artistic like voice being, you know, uh, yeah, I just don't have as much of my own self in something, if
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like
Definitely.
there's less, I guess, yeah, there's less ego attached to me going into a collaborative thing. If I have my own thing on the side, I can be as egotistical and autocratic as I want over
Mhm.
there.
Yeah. Get it out of your
um,
system over there and like be ready for collaboration. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, be ready to let go of some of that control and stuff, and they're both like very challenging in their own rights, but like they kind of work for someone like me who like can make entire like songs by myself. Like I can play everything that I need to, so I don't need to like work with other musicians. It's like it's pretty essential to have those like little personal pet projects and stuff.
Mhm.
uh,
Definitely.
and especially in the day and age, today's day and age, with like a lot, everything's a lot more kind of alone and
Mhm.
a lot
Yeah.
of the time. So
Mhm. It's good to know how to jam with yourself as well. Just
totally,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um if you were an animal, which one would you be and why?
It's funny. I was looking at these questions on my break today, and I'm honestly having a really hard time coming up with an answer for this because like I love a lot of different animals, but
That's a good problem to have. Yeah.
yeah, like what? Yeah, I don't know, because I see myself in a lot of different animals. I mean, I see myself in Star,
Mhm.
in that very playful, very uh, sleepy, and can also, wow. Do you hear her? Can you
Can
hear her?
sing. Yeah.
Yeah, and can sing. Um, she's like, "You're talking about me?" uh, and she can also be like kind of like a drama queen and a little bit like over. What?
That's so great.
You're not a drama queen. I take it back. Um,
Gets offended.
yeah. You want to come up here? Come here. Come here. Sorry. Ow, look.
Woo! Hey, Star.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
sorry.
Booty pics.
Yeah. Yeah. There
So
she is.
cute.
So yeah. What animal am I? Sorry.
She knows her angles.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
That's good. That sells, huh? Um, and okay, animal.
Mhm.
Uh, man, I don't know. Maybe a cat because uh, I do consider myself kind of a dog person. Although it's kind of a pointless thing to have a strong opinion on, like whether you're a dog or cat person, because they're both good.
Mhm.
But I feel like pretty. I definitely like resonate with the sort of lightning rod energy of a cat that dissipates instantly and turns into like
Yes.
just like sleeping and being like grumpy and then being like really happy.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like very energetic and very happy at one moment to like grumpy another, and then like
Mhm.
very relaxed and zen the next moment.
Definitely. Yeah. She's so good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She's been alone all day, so she's like very
Mhm.
needy right now. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I resonate with those aspects of being a cat too. Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say a
Um,
cat, and I would say
okay,
a
yes.
probably a tabby cat, maybe.
Oh, yeah? Yeah,
Yeah,
what's
my first
different
cat.
with a tabby?
Uh, just aesthetically.
Hmm.
Also, like,
Fair.
my first family cat was a tabby.
Hmm.
That was a good cat.
Good
Yeah,
cat.
when I was very very young. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, the
but
cat that I
I'm.
knew when I was very young looks a lot like Star. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
nice, yeah. Her name
yeah.
was
Well,
Tootie.
was what? Sorry,
Tootie.
Tootie. That's great.
Hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, Star comes from the same litter as one of Brennan's old cats.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, and my partner was the midwife
Oh,
uh,
wow.
for her mother, as in she delivered the kittens and then kept one.
Beautiful. That's great.
Yeah,
Nice
yeah,
little family.
yeah, totally. Yeah, right.
Hmm. Um, yeah, my next question on my list. Yeah, you already said kind of, but is there a solid community of musicians and artists around you, and how do they impact your creative energy and actions? So, yeah, more about how they impact you these days.
Yeah, I mean, they're like the biggest impact on me. I mean,
Hmm.
like, um, especially Cartoon Lizard. Everyone in that band has had like a huge impact on my life. I mean, um, like Richie, I met when I was in grade 9 or something, and like he like really kind of changed the course of my musical existence by just like opening me up to a lot of stuff that I had no idea about. I mean, specifically Animal Collective, which like blew
Mm,
my high school brain wide
right.
open, and
Yeah.
of course there was also all the weed and formulative experiences of high school.
Hmm.
Um, and like yeah, Shiloh, who like also like uh, kind of changed my life in all these ways. And honestly, everyone in Cartoon Lizard has like changed my life in all these ways and exposed me to all this art and philosophy and like interpersonal relationships and dynamics and stuff like that in like crazy ways. And they're my other family. They're my
Hmm.
my third family. There's my biological family. There's this family, and then there's that family.
Hmm.
Um, like I trust them all with my life, and then there's the people that are sort of more peripheral to that are also still like incredibly important. People that I'm able to collaborate with. There's of course Haley in
Hmm.
Vancouver who like has like I've been able to like live out a lot of like dreams as a musician, like working with her because like she is like quite a big profile and
Hmm.
um, we go on big tours and get to record in big fancy studios and stuff
Yeah.
and she's also just like opened me up like working with other people. I mean, working with Haley was really interesting because like it's just like you come to this middle ground of taste and you each come with all these disparate ideas and tastes um, and interests and stuff like that, and you find new things about yourself in this like reflection of working with another person. Is that too abstract? I mean, like you,
Yeah. Like finding
so
bits of yourself and working with other people. Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
you like uncover new parts of yourself
Hmm.
by working with someone who has new
New
like
ideas. Yeah.
new ideas for you to react to.
Yeah. Definitely.
It-
Hmm.
like it's a hard feeling to explain, but I feel this like with like all the people I've worked with in whatever capacity, even just making videos for people. I've been really lucky that a lot of people have like reached out and asked for me to make them a video, and in doing that, like it's like a new form of collaboration that I'd never done before. Um
Hmm.
and so yeah, I feel super super crazy lucky to be able to like to not only like be surrounded by a lot of people who are making music that I personally really like,
Hmm.
but also people that are like, do you want to help with it, or like, do you want to sort of be around during it? I mean,
Hmm.
there's a studio up in Ladysmith, which is like an hour and a half away from Victoria here, that Cartoon Lizard spends a lot of time in, and Shiloh's kind of the groundskeeper there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I just go up there. Like anytime I'm driving through, I'll always visit there. And I've also recorded a lot of these songs up there, and I continue to work there as much as possible. And every time I go there, there's always someone doing something really cool, and
Mm-hmm.
I get to like spend time working with them and experiencing their like work, uh, like flow, their workflow, um, and every time I always learn something or gain some kind of insight into like other modes of creation, because obviously working as a solo artist, like I just fall into my own habits like very often. And working with Cartoon Lizard, like we've been working together so closely for so long that we kind of also have our set of habits. So just
Mm-hmm.
being around other people and seeing how other people go about things is like, it's like traveling. It's like, going to a different country and seeing how another like culture operates and being like, oh, that is so weird. I never would have thought how weird my culture is or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, there's some culture shock.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
big time.
And that
Um,
place you were talking about, was it the same place? Because when I interviewed Brennan, he was at like some like
it
place in the
was,
woods. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I helped mic up the piano for
Right.
that album.
Nice. It's a
So
good album. Yeah.
it's a great album. I was so supremely impressed the first time I like heard it all the way through, because
Mm-hmm.
I'd heard like bits and pieces, and he'd like we just sit down at the piano and play some of the songs for us. Um, but then once I heard it, like, I mean, Brennan's like a real like, he is insane work
Mm-hmm.
ethic. I do not understand it. I get so discouraged when I'm working.
No, yeah, it's hard to balance like the discouragement of like oh my god, you're so amazing, and it's like the same thing that you're doing, so you're like, what's happening? But I mean, it's also such a great opportunity to learn and be like, okay, I'm gonna figure this
Totally.
out. I'm gonna decode this a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Brennan has the most like iron like will I've ever
Mm-hmm.
seen.
So talented, yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
nice to have those people around. So inspiring to like feel like, I don't know, if they're gonna
Oh yeah.
be friends with you, then maybe you have some potential as a human as well, which you definitely
Yeah, for sure.
do.
And he's been such a huge help for my
Yeah.
stuff as well, because like he'll be like, we'll just be talking about something totally unrelated, and he'll be like, what have you been doing lately? And I'll be like, I don't know, I'm kind of like kicking rocks these days, haven't been doing much. And I'd be like, well, you should do something then. You should go out, you should go do something, or you should record something. And I'll be
Mm.
like, yeah, you're right. And then
Yeah.
I'll do it. It's super
Yeah.
contagious being around someone who's that
Active.
like yeah, work ethic
Yeah, it's
uh,
nice to have those motivators.
mhm. Yeah.
Sweet.
So
Um,
yeah,
yeah, speaking of, kicking rocks, how do you,
love kicking rocks.
yeah, how do you spend a day off? Like, because I feel like those days kicking rocks are so essential to like recharging so that you can actually have those days where you just go completely
Oh
insane
yeah.
with
No,
making
totally.
music.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I spend most of my time kicking rocks.
Mm.
I'm definitely like a creature of leisure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I guess like my perfect Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, usually, I mean, like my partner and I are like, we're not like foodies in the way we're gonna go spend like $1,000 on
Yeah.
some fancy meal somewhere, but we are foodies in that we really appreciate a good meal.
Mm-hmm.
And so like we have this like Sunday tradition of always making like very ornate big breakfasts,
Mm-hmm.
like pancakes and vegan sausages, and like
Mm-hmm.
coffee done exactly the way we want it. And lately we've been having like eggnog in the coffee, like
Oh yeah.
just go all out, like really like to like make an experience like a really like perfect Sunday breakfast kind of thing.
Yeah, that's great.
We're huge on that. And then yeah, I usually take my family dog out. My family has this big Pyrenees Husky cross, this giant, massive, fluffy white dog who's just like the sweetest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
I have a picture of her somewhere. And so I try to take care of her as much as I can, and so I'll go and take her out for walks. So a lot of nature walks, definitely.
That's great. Dogs are good for that. Yeah.
Totally, yeah. It's so funny because like every time I even question it, like actually here's a picture. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, oh my gosh. So precious.
She's the sweetest thing ever. I feel so blessed for all the animals around. Like Star is like
Oh yeah.
an absolute dream, and then Coda's like also just like the sweetest, nicest
Yeah.
dog ever.
Oh my god. So good for morale.
Yes, totally. Yeah, that's the thing that I think I definitely have taken for granted before is uh, how much of a positive impact like animals have on your life, like a good animal.
Yeah. Good animal.
And you know, and so I mean, yeah, just another blessing to count at dinner every.
At Sunday breakfast.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I do my best to like go on walks, you know, good like nature walks, like have a pretty detailed map of great walks around Vancouver Island if you're ever around and you need a good hike. I
Oh
know a
my
lot of
gosh.
good spots.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Whenever I visit there, I will need the
Yeah, yeah,
resources. Yeah.
yeah. I'll give you like one of those Google Maps with all the little pins on it.
That's so
Um,
good.
so yeah, good walk. Some good. I like sitting around and just futzing around on playing piano and just like not really having any idea about like not trying to do anything, just sort of like playing and seeing if something comes of it. Like I remember reading a thing. I think it was Jeff Tweedy from Wilco. He was saying he was like he likes to make something every day, even if it's just a drawing on a napkin or a single, you know, like a little limerick or something. You know, just anything.
Yeah.
Just make
Keep the
something.
ball
So
rolling.
yeah, so I try to do that. Of course, I can't every day, but I mean,
Yeah.
like I definitely try to like make something small every day, and that's most often like tiny little chord changes or little melodies or lyrics or something like that. So on my days off, there's usually a concerted or like there's like a real considered effort to like sit down and make something at any point, or even just practice. Like I have a
Yeah.
little on my desktop here. I have a couple notes of daily practices, and it's like practice guitar and piano or like write something and stuff. So
Yeah. Do you
so
ever
if I
learn covers too when you're
yeah
practicing?
I
Yeah.
yeah that's something I never cared for when I was younger. I thought I was like I'm better than this. I'm just writing my own music. But these days I've been like loving just like playing a lot of old standards and like I had Alex from Cartoon Lizard. I had him over the other night to work on one of his songs, which is coming along nicely. And we were just like sitting around, kind of kicking rocks after working on his song for a while, and then we just started playing "Two of Us" by the Beatles off of Let It Be because we've been watching all those Beatles documentaries, and we're absolutely obsessed.
Right.
I love them,
Nice.
and it feels so good to just like play a song and not like yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Covers are both overrated, extremely overrated, and very underrated. Like for a musician like me who like um who didn't really do them at all in the past, like these days they're this really nice kind of novel new thing. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I like
especially like
studying them and stuff. Yeah, especially with what?
yeah. Oh, just like really like I love I get into this habit of when I'm writing something for myself, writing like really really complex chord changes, like always needing to do like weird like I
Right,
never know
right.
what I'm doing because I have no music theory knowledge at all. Like I don't know like I can't notate or anything. Like I know if someone's like play G chord, I could do that, but if they're like play G ninth chord or something, like I have no idea. But I always end up just having these, you know, very long-winded, complex fingerings, and then I'll go and look up a song that I absolutely love, and then it's like just the most simplest chords ever, like absolute cowboy.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about Dylan, like his shit is
Oh,
like
yeah.
all cowboy
GACF
chords.
all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was playing Tangled Up in Blue the other day because I've been really loving that song, and it's so simple and it's such a good song, and it's like it's all in the writing. It's not about anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to like let go.
Yeah.
I feel like whenever I learn a cover, like the moments after learning it, it's much easier to write something on my own because it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, nice to
Yeah,
have those notes from someone else. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, totally. A reminder, yeah, you don't need to overcomplicate things.
Yeah, definitely.
But then, of course, there's Stevie Wonder, who his shit is like crazy, constantly
Yeah.
modulating, like key changes, all this shit.
Oh, yeah.
He's out too.
Yeah, being extreme
Yeah.
is also really great.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong answer. It's
Yeah,
just like if I went my whole life writing Dylan-esque cowboy chord things, I would
a
probably be very
little bit bored.
interested in more complicated chord
Yeah.
structures. These days, I'm sort of trying to move backwards or simplify things a bit.
There's lots of cycles to it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, always.
What will be the perfect listening situation for Spotlight for people at home who are going to listen to it? What would be the dream of like where people can listen to this song?
Hmm. Um, well, I always like to encourage people to just like sit down with some headphones and like close their eyes because
Yeah.
like the most formative music experiences of my life were sort of like that,
Yeah.
where you'd go into an album or a song or something just like and like you sort of fully surrender yourself to it and crazy shit can happen. You don't have to be like high
Yeah.
or like inebriated at all for your mind to just go off and experience like something that you don't always experience. And so definitely like closed eyes with some nice headphones in a dark or nice sort of mood lit room.
Yeah.
um but uh but if you must watch something, the idea is that I'm hoping to have a video
Oh,
for it,
yeah.
although who knows if that's going to happen. There's a lot of things happening between now and then, so I would like to. So if you do need something to watch, hopefully I'll have a video. Otherwise, any generic YouTube visualizer,
Yeah, YouTube visuals are,
trippy fractals and
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Um,
Or just, yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I'm getting the vibes of like, yeah, just sitting in your living room, just like in a
mhm.
comfortable space, listening to it
Yeah,
would
on a
probably
nice
be nice.
couch,
Yeah.
sort of dark, but some nice mood lighting. Maybe like a
Yeah.
salt lamp
Yeah.
around or Christmas lights.
Mm-hmm.
Something
Kind of
something cozy.
zen, but
Yeah, yeah,
cozy. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah.
Um, what's your relationship like with the things you make, the music you make, while they're in the making versus like once they're shared? Yeah, what's the
Mhm.
process of your relationship with your art?
Uh, well, as I'm making them, I'm like totally enamored by them generally. Um, I mean, there have definitely been times where I'll like be knocking my head against a wall and just won't know how to proceed. But generally, like as I'm working on things, I listen to them, you know, thousands of times. Like I just can't stop listening to them. And then like when it's sort of finished, it's like the same thing. I'm just listening to it everywhere. I'm like showing everybody I can, and I'll be in this like honeymoon stage with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then every single time I release it, couldn't care less.
Right.
Like I never listen to anything I've released after it's released. Before, I'll listen to it every day,
Mm-hmm.
multiple times a day. Like I'll like send it to someone and they'll give me their reaction and then I'll listen to it again, sort of like wanting to hear how they heard it in a way, It's like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so yeah, as soon as it gets released though, never listen to it ever again.
Yeah. What about
Yeah.
like 5 years later though? Do you ever like listen
Yeah, yeah.
back and you're like, wow, I was that person?
Yeah, no, I have a yeah, okay. So here's the complete timeline. So
Whoa.
totally enamored. Release it, don't care about it. 5 years go by, and then or so thereabouts,
Mm-hmm.
and then become very fascinated by it. It's like it's so interesting. I mean, like I made an album back in like 2014. That was like me at my most Animal Collective obsessed
Right.
stage, and I mean, it sounds like Animal Collective. Sounds like very lo-fi, sort of scratchy, ramshackle Animal Collective. And I listen
Perfect.
to it now, and it's so interesting because I still like the songs. I still know what I was going for, and like I have the added benefit of being able to hear what I wanted it to sound like, whereas everyone else just hears what it actually sounds
Right.
like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I mean, like another, it's another cliche, but I mean, like hindsight is 2020. You listen to this stuff, and you're like, I know what I was going for. I can hear how it has developed over the years, and I can hear the things that I've sort of forgotten about or stopped doing, and some new things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. It's like a renaissance phase of like just like really loving those old songs again, uh, and being really interested in them, and sometimes even sort of like romanticizing them a bit, being like, man,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't write like I used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is
Mm-hmm.
not true at all. I mean, you
No.
just write differently. It's not like,
Mm-hmm.
if it was like 20 years later, 25 years later, and I had a hit record, and then I'm still trying to bang like another one out, like
Yeah.
that would be a little different. But
Mm-hmm.
considering all of the releases are pretty much on an equal playing field, it's like no, they're all just different.
Mm-hmm.
So the latest ones are more polished and technically better,
Mm-hmm.
but are they like artistically better? I
Don't
don't
know.
know. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's nice
So,
to think about, and I guess it's very subjective. Yeah. How
yeah.
good, how much better you've gotten, or whatever. But
Well, yeah, it's funny.
yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, one small thing was just like the first Cartoon Lizard release, Not Punk, Not Raw, was mostly me. Like I did like all of the instrumentation, or at least like 85% of the instrumentation of 3 out of the 5 tracks. Um, and so I listen to that now, and it sounds very similar to the stuff that I'm releasing these days.
Oh, cool.
Um, and it's both kind of like, oh, that's interesting, that's kind of cool, and also like, man, I haven't really moved on. Like I'm still
Yeah.
trying to make the same kind of music.
Right. Right.
Um,
Well, it's
but
good to, yeah, stay in touch with yourself and like be aware of like how you're progressing, because I think that's important to progress. Yeah.
totally, yeah, yeah. And I say all this, and I do think that things have progressed in
Yeah.
a way, but yeah, it is interesting to hear what sticks around, like what
Mm-hmm.
continues to find its way into your music despite your best efforts.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder how familiar, if it's like more familiar sounding to you than to other people who listen to either, or I don't know. Yeah, it's cool.
I do wonder that. Yeah, but my last single, I remember Brendan's dad was like, "This is some." What did he say? He said, "This is some." Oh fuck! What did he say? Uh, he's like, "This sounds like some proto Neo Cartoon Lizard or something
Oh
like
yeah.
that." Like,
It's
wow,
like,
you really saw right through me.
yeah, yeah. That's great. That's great. Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah,
like a spin-off, or like,
yeah, yeah,
but in
exactly.
a good
Yeah,
way. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
great.
I like the spin-off.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that it would be. It's got the same characters. So,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
it was, I mean, made in the same studio with
Yeah.
a lot of the same techniques. It's just like these days, I'm a little bit better at being like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that sounds good versus,
Yeah.
back in the day where I was like, I didn't care if anything sounded good. I would just
Mm-hmm.
record it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know the artist Baths and like Geotic? It's funny because I feel
I know
like,
Baths.
right, he
Yeah.
has like this other project called Geotic, and it's interesting because he's got the two different ones, but just trying to figure out what's the difference between the two bands that he's running on his own. It's like really hard. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Geotic is like the more chill ambient one, but then Baths
Yeah.
puts out like her ambient one, and you're like, what is happening?
What's happening? Yeah. I
Yeah.
wonder how he decides like what goes into
Yeah.
what project,
I really want to know. But yeah, I mean,
I
it's
feel like
fun.
there's a fair amount of artists like that where they'll have like a side project that's like, why did you make a side project if
Yeah.
it's like the same thing?
It's fascinating. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure there's stuff behind the scenes.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, there's always something.
Mhm. And what advice would you offer to people interested in trying their hand at songwriting?
Um, well, yeah. I mean, definitely. Uh, I guess I'm gonna say two opposite things
Mhm.
that I think are both true, which is like study your favorite songs and try to understand like why they make you feel a certain way.
Mhm.
Um, and then also like forget all influence, like do
Yeah.
whatever feels natural to you. Which like, you know, coming from me, my music is extremely it's just a pastiche. It's just a combination of all the things that I like.
Mhm.
Um, so I wouldn't say my music is particularly like, it's not like cutting edge, brand new, never been heard before
Yeah.
music. Like it's very rooted in traditional music values. Um, but I think it's really important, even if you're going to do something like, oh, I want to make something that sounds like Talking Heads.
Mhm.
I think it's fine to do that. Like you have like, you know, a band like LCD Sound System that's like definitely has some Talking Heads vibes. I think that's awesome, but you definitely need to have some part of it that's like, this is authentically me,
Yeah.
and like I'm not just trying to be David Byrne, because nobody can be David Byrne except for
Mhm.
David Byrne. And I think it's sort of like it's it can be dangerous if you're just sort of doing the same thing, or like doing something for an aesthetic over the actual inner expression. I mean, music is just art, and art is just expression, and it's all about expression.
Mhm. Yeah.
And if you're not expressing anything, then it's going to be very difficult to make something meaningful, I guess, or
Definitely.
whatever. So yeah, I don't know. Just always try to find yourself in it, even if you're almost in a cover band. There
Right.
needs to be some part of yourself in it, I guess.
Mhm.
And maybe the last thing I'll say is that I feel like I have so many friends who are like, yeah, you know, I want to write songs, but like it seems hard, or I don't want to,
Mhm.
I don't want to put in the time. But it's just like, I feel like, especially now, learning all these Dylan songs, it's just like, no, it's easy. Like
Yeah.
you like learn a few chords,
Yeah.
make a melody, and like, you know, do you think he knew what he meant when he was writing his lyrics down? Probably
Yeah.
not. Honestly, I feel like it's the kind of thing where you write something down, and then like a month later you'll be like, oh, that's what that means. That's
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah,
You know.
definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
I say do it. I say anybody who ever wants to try music, everyone should try music.
Yes, I
It won't be
agree.
for everybody, but everyone can do
Should
it.
try it.
Music is, I think, easier than most people make it out to
Oh
be.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at least, I mean, getting really good at it is really hard, but anyone can
Yeah.
try it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because like music isn't like, it's not like you, because there are people like, you know, like Daniel Johnson or whatever, who's like,
Mhm. Yeah.
his recordings are like pretty rough, but
Mhm.
like
So
so
something
much
so
emotion.
special about it. Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't
And
need it
so,
to be amazing quality.
and
Sometimes
that's
it's
like
just the
equal,
authenticity. Mhm.
totally. Yeah, authenticity. Yeah, you like, you don't need to be like incredibly skilled to make
Yeah.
expressive music. You just need to, I think the one thing you need to be is just like empathetic and in tune with how you feel, which
Yeah.
is way harder said than done, but
Mhm.
like, or easier said than done, not um,
Mhm.
but
Surfing
I
your
think that's probably,
intuition. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's more important than any kind of, you know, like uh, musical, like technical know-how. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's, if you have a, a single snare drum, or like anything tonal, if you have a board with a single string on it, you know, you can
Mhm.
make, and someone out there is gonna like it. I mean,
Yeah.
people like some weird shit.
They
Like
do.
there's gonna be an audience for you if you just oh, actually, you know what? That's my last piece of
Okay.
advice. I'm sorry.
No,
This is
please.
gonna be a nightmare for you to try to paraphrase
It's okay.
later.
We'll get there.
Yeah. But the last thing I'll say was, no matter what you're doing, there's an audience for it.
Yeah.
Um, and so like, if you're like making the most like niche weirdo music ever, like someone out there is going to like it. And if you are looking for an audience, if you're trying to get your music out there, you just have to like keep putting it out there, and eventually someone who likes it is going to hear it. It might even be long after you die, you know.
Mhm.
There's so like, today with like crazy, with all these like vinyl reissues of forgotten records of the 60s and stuff like that, like anyone can get their day in the sun. They just need to put it out there. You'll never be heard if you're not actively putting stuff out.
Yeah.
um and so yeah, just keep keep doing it. I mean, that's what I have to
Mhm.
remind myself every time I release a song. It like doesn't go viral. I have to be like, yeah, well, I can't expect it to. I need to just keep doing things, you know.
Yeah,
It's
that's all
like,
you can do. Hmm.
yeah. So,
Hmm. It's an encouraging
yeah.
message. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hmm.
It's kind of like yeah, you need to have that kind of like
Positive mindset.
unrealistic, yeah, almost an unrealistically positive mindset if you're going to like try to establish yourself as like as some kind of like artist, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
Difficult game.
There's a
And
bit
join
of
TikTok.
manifestation. Oh, TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah, TikTok. That's my number one piece of advice. Join TikTok.
Unfortunately, yeah, it kind of works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all my questions that I have for you. And thank you so much. It was really nice. I enjoyed your answers.
Of course, yeah, this is
Yeah.
great.
Hmm.
I love to talk about this stuff. So,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
I'm glad that there's people out there who are willing to like ask the questions. It's like
Hmm.
it's not, you know, this. It's yes, it's difficult for. Yeah, it's good to be asked questions. You
Yeah.
know.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Be prompted to think about the answer as well.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Sweet. Well, have a nice night. And yeah, thank you so much. I'll keep you updated on uh, when this newspaper is coming out and edits to whatever I make out of this interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. You're gonna like totally chop up what I say and make me say some
Yeah, I'm
really
gonna
off
make you
the
like a
wall.
really offensive person, so it's good. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. It's too bad I don't have a clock in the background. They'll be like jumping around as you make
Right.
all this stuff.
Yeah. It'll just be star in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
wish.
Yeah. Be sure to include
Oh.
some of her quotes.
Oh
There's
yeah.
some good there.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really,
Great.
really good
Awesome.
points.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. Yeah. This has
Yeah.
been great. Yeah.
I'll see you
Really.
around the
Yeah.
internet.
Definitely.
Hmm.
Awesome. All
Take care.
right. Bye
Bye.
bye. Merry Christmas, I
Merry
guess.
Christmas. Happy New Year. Yeah.
Yeah. See you later.